Say hi if you're staying. Say hi if you're staying. Sophia, hello. How are you? How you guys doing? Happy Saturday. Hello. Hi, reading custom made right now, Miss Potty. What do you think? What do you think about it? Hey, aloha. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. I really want TikTok to change a little something with these lives, because we can now download them, like we can save them, we can download them, and I repurpose them. But when you download it, it doesn't show the comments, and I really want it to start showing the comments when you save the live. So TikTok, if you're listening, show us the comments too when you let us download these lives. I'm a Scorpio. What does that tell you about me? How can I stop reaching for things that aren't there? Like what, my love? Hello, everybody. Somebody's reading. What are you reading? Hey, reading custom made. What do you think? It's good. Okay, so Party's reading custom made. She says it's good. In my first corporate role and struggling to figure out what makes me unique and competitive. I like that. It's interesting. Good. You're glowing. Thank you. Competitive. I compare myself way too much and have no confidence. Ooh. I love that. I love that you're reading this book, because I do hope that you do all the exercises in it. Guys, in case you're wondering what I'm talking about when I say exercises, this is a workbook. Every chapter ends with you doing some deep thinking and some writing, because I really want you to figure out what makes you special. We are all designed to do something really super well, but our educational system distracted us because it graded us, and it really made us think that we needed to forget about what we were good at and focus more on what we were not good at. And so I like that you're diving into this, because I like that it's going to help you really understand yourself and your strengths on a much deeper level. Who's here? But it's also going to teach you to fail forward. It's going to give you the confidence to keep going forward no matter how many times you fall flat on your face. And one of the stories I tell in here is about how I got up on a stage and forgot what I was going to say. And I stood there with the microphone like dead silent for far too long. And half my crowd got up and left. So my anxiety caused me to forget so many memories, like remembering what I liked as a kid, a teen, etc. Yes. Baby? Yeah. Oh, baby, come here. Baby, come and do a live with me.
I don't know.
Oh, come sit with me just for a little bit. You guys want to see my husband? Who wants to see my hubby? We have 2 dogs, by the way. That's all the ruckus. Maggie and Charlie. Yes, my baby, come here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Guys, this is my husband.
He's an alien.
He's an alien.
From Mexico.
From Mexico. Will you be putting this live on YouTube? Yes, I am.
You are.
I am. Yes. Oh.
Documentation.
Documentation. Yeah, because people get disappointed that they miss my lives.
Okay.
And sometimes somebody says, hi, Hubs. Let's meet the husband. Yes. And so they get disappointed if they miss my lies. And also sometimes I'm answering a question, but the feed will skip for them for some reason. Their Wi-Fi isn't working, or
Right.
maybe mine isn't strong enough. And so they'll go back on YouTube and they'll go rewatch it to go get my answer.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys want to ask my husband a question? Oh, groan. Why is he wearing that? That's a question. Why are you wearing this, baby?
Because I don't want to be known.
He doesn't want to be known. Hi. Mwah. So my husband did something really cool today. He did a hyperbaric therapy.
Oxygen therapy.
Oxygen therapy. This is kind of like what's really cool, you guys. Like, I talk about relationships evolving, and like sometimes people will say, well, my relationship isn't exciting enough. And really, just what you need to do is, first of all, don't look for your relationship to be your source of excitement. There's so many other things in life that can be a source of excitement. But if you stay in a relationship long enough, you're going to see evolution. And my husband is like, basically, when I met him, blue collar dude, right? Like, just business owner, blue onesie every day. Baby, what's it called?
Coveralls.
Coveralls. So the blue coveralls every day, because he works in a shop and he's bending metal and he's with the fire, what do you call that?
Welding.
Right? So he's working in the shop all day long. And that's who I got into a relationship with. And I was perfectly okay being in a relationship with this man. He's amazing. He's hardworking. I don't need to be with the suit guy. I love my blue onesie man. And I didn't think he would ever be anything different than what I got into. And then he evolved. He changed. And he got really interested in healing people, like healing people's physical bodies, healing people's mental health through oxygen therapy. And it's really interesting to see how it lights him up. Whenever somebody says, oh, there's something wrong with me, he goes, do you know what's good for that? Oxygen therapy. And he volunteers every Saturday. I mean, this man works 80 to 100 hours a week and volunteers his time to heal people who were not well. I am so proud of him. He's amazing. He looks very lit up. Where can I do oxygen therapy? So what you want to do is you want to Google hyperbaric oxygen. So spell it, baby.
Hyper. Hyper. Hyperbaric, BARIC. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy. There's one in Elmira. That's the one I volunteer at. And then there's, that's a private facility. There's also a couple in Mississauga, Toronto area, one called Under Pressure.
Some of these people are in the U.S.
Okay, well, then you got to look in the U.S. Dr. Harch, Harch, I believe. He's a good one, has a good website.
I guess it.
And yeah, there's a number of them all over North America. So
yeah. I highly recommend, because here's when you guys ask me about how to overcome depression, something that I learned as a result of my husband's research is that depression and anxiety is inflammation in the brain, and increased sometimes and increased oxygen reduces inflammation. So when I'm telling you guys how to decrease anxiety and depression, one of the things that I say is go for a walk, because you are increasing oxygen flow in your body, which will help reduce inflammation in your brain, which will help ease those feelings of depression and anxiety.
Of course, inflammation damages brain cells as well, and oxygen is needed to heal cells and to regenerate themselves. It takes oxygen. The brain needs 35% of the oxygen that you take in. It's a lot that it needs to operate properly. So stress for me was a big problem. Stress releases cortisone in your brain. Too much of it eventually leads to inflammation in the brain, which leads to mental illness, which I am fully aware of. And yes, oxygen therapy helps reduces the inflammation. It's worked for me. I've never taken any other sort of medication. And I was getting panic attacks on a daily basis for months and months. And it's the only thing I've ever done, and I don't have panic attacks anymore. So.
Somebody here just said perfect timing. I read about the Israeli study.
Yes, I have sent that article to many people already myself.
Awesome. People are really loving this. I like how he's always touching me. We are, yeah. Both of us share physical affection as a love language. Like, what you can't see is that, like, I'm touching him just as much as he's touching me. This is one thing that I absolutely love about him is this. Because I really, truly do love physical affection. Maggie's about to knock over my tripod. Yeah, he's very touchy. He's very petty. I get all the kisses I want. I love the music. So the mask is for oxygen therapy.
We do actually wear a mask in the chamber.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, it's a pressurized chamber. So when under pressure, oxygen starts to dissolve into all your bodily fluids. So you're saturating your body with oxygen on a level that you just cannot get without pressure.
All right. Let me see. Please don't forget to pet the doggo. He's petting the dog at the same time. Somebody says I do cryotherapy.
Yeah, heard of that.
Oh, somebody said I'm glad to see your hubby with you. I love your content, love your lives. What do you know about cryotherapy?
Not that much. I know some people. I think Mark Wahlberg is big into it. I think there's a lot of research that probably needs to be done, but you have people who swear by it, and I don't know enough about it though.
Okay, here's a question. Somebody said, how did you guys go about expressing your anxieties about your relationship with each other?
How do we go about it? I think we talked about it.
Right.
Specifically on our wedding day.
Yeah.
Chantal, should we say that one?
Yeah, go for it. Open.
Chantal called me and said, "Are you sure about this?" And I said, "No, are you?" And we each agreed that no, neither one of us was sure, and we were both very anxious about it. And so I guess that's it. We were honest about it and talked about it. That's all there is to it.
And I'm very open about the fact that on my wedding day, the words that I said the most often were, "I'm freaking out." Like,
it's okay, so was I.
All the time I was getting ready. I mean, I was saying it right up to the moment before walking down the aisle to my future husband. I remember a friend of mine getting in my face going, breathe deep, because that's what I kept saying is I'm freaking out. And I'm very open about the fact that our wedding was a leap of faith. Would you say that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a leap of faith. It was a leap of faith. And I didn't start meditating until 2 years later. We didn't stop fighting until I started meditating. So when you guys ask me what is the one piece of advice, and I keep saying meditation, it's because it really is what turned absolutely everything around. Here's another question. How often do you guys How often do you guys have check-ins with each other?
I wouldn't say that often. It's how many years now? 15 years?
Yeah.
We are both in good positions. There was one time in the last year where we both weren't happy with the other person. And, the next day we seen each other and I said, "You good?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, me too." And it was done, because we understand each other. So that's where we are now. Obviously, before it would have been more frequently needed, but it doesn't have to be that often now.
Yeah. Like I remember, like the most recent times was when we were transitioning from fighting to no more fighting. And there was still moments that we would have, like that upset, right? There would be like a disagreement. There would be like a, like a situation, a something, right, between the two of us. And so I would go and take my space, and I would go through my thought process of coming out of my emotions, getting back into logic. And also, like, part of my process was always deciding to come back to the loving behaviors. I talked to you guys about making sure that you have loving behaviors that you always do every single day, no matter what is happening, because that's what creates emotional security. That's what creates the communication in your relationship, that no matter what happens, we are good, we are secure. We may have these upsets, we might have moments where we don't agree, but we're still okay. And so we were still in the early phases of this. And I remember moments where we would have one of those upsets, and then I would get myself back, and then I would come forward with that loving behavior. And he would do what I call check my temperature. Like, I could see him studying me to see how I was, if I actually really was okay. And I would reassure him, not with my words, but, or, sometimes he'd be like, are you okay? And I'd say yes. But more often than not, it was like just a reciprocation of the physical affection that he was offering me. So he'd kiss me, he'd pull back a little bit, he'd double check my face, and I'd give him that second kiss to help him understand that, yes, we are absolutely okay. Somebody asked, how did you know he was the one? So I think I knew he was the one before I knew he was the one. Because when we first met, I was married, and so I was very much in denial of the fact that I was falling for him, because at the forefront of my mind was my devotion to my husband. What was happening at the back was all those elements of me finally understanding him and appreciating him falling into place. So there's that, right? Like, I remember I understood that I was attracted to him the day that I saw him walk, because one of the final elements that fell into place was me going, ooh, he's confident. And confidence is super sexy. It really is. It is kind of hard to answer how did I know he was the one, because there were so many little things along the way. That moment where I became fully aware that I was attracted to him. Moments where I understood that despite guys, check this out. Moments where it's family time. Moments where even though we were fighting, he just felt so right. This is so cute, you guys.
He's trying to take off my mask.
Yes, he wants
to get under.
He wants to get to the. That's so cute.
Well, Chantal didn't know I was the right one, even on our wedding day, so.
There's that.
I think a lot of times you might meet the right person, but it's not the right situation. And I personally think you can have a right relationship with a number of different people. So that's my opinion.
Yeah. I remember our first fight after you and I got together, and I was living on Glen Forest.
Okay.
And we had a fight. You left in a huff. And then the next day, I believe it was, you came to my house, and I opened the door, and without a word, we just hugged. I don't know if you remember that.
Not specifically.
So without a word, we just hugged. We just held each other. And that was the first time that I was so aware of the perfection of our fit. So, and then after that, the voice in my head kept saying, it could be so good if only you could clear the static. So all these little, it wasn't like one big moment. It was all these little moments stitching themselves together. Somebody says, book recommendation for someone experienced childhood trauma who finds validation in receiving attention from men. I would go to No More Assholes, just because it helps you with that dating process, and it helps you stop the pattern of falling for guys who are there for the validation but not there for the relationship. And it also calms your mind and increases your self-esteem. And that is a combination that you need, because you are anxiously seeking people to validate you because you have low self-esteem. What do you think of that, baby?
Sorry, but I wasn't paying attention.
I forgive you. Somebody says, this is the first time I see him. You should have wrote "see" in quotes. Right. Since you can't.
I seen someone asked if we had kids.
Right.
That's an easy one. Which I have a daughter and a son. Chantal and I do not have any kids together.
Right. The dog is trying to discover his identity. Yeah. So, I mean, we couldn't be more perfect for each other, in my opinion, because like our fundamental values are very well aligned, including the fact that when we came together, we didn't want children. He already had 2, and he'd had a vasectomy. I hadn't had any, and I hadn't gotten my tubes tied. So we just had so many things that were aligned in so many ways. I love the fact that in one of our early conversations, I said, if I had a button that would eradicate the entire human race, including myself, I would do it. And that's one of the reasons why he fell for me.
Well, she was interesting to me because of that comment.
Yeah. Somebody said tips for self-love. What are your tips for self-love?
Well, I think you have to understand yourself first and admit your faults and understand your strengths. I'd say the one thing I did at some point was to look at the people in my life, whether they were personal or even public figures, and understand what I respected about them and liked about them, and then said, those qualities, I want those qualities to be my own. And I started working towards implementing those qualities into my life and into my personality. You know, once you become the person that you aspire to be, then self-love is easy.
So somebody said no nuclear codes for you.
You know who unleashed the virus, don't you?
Oh, don't even. Ooh, that's so bad. So somebody said, what book, if you think you're the toxic one in the relationship, is definitely Fix That Shit. I was definitely toxic in our relationship. And by doing what isn't Fix That Shit, which, by the way, I never ask you to do anything I haven't done myself. So me doing what isn't Fix That Shit really put a 180 on my toxic behavior. My boyfriend said he'd meditate with me. Anything to note for couple meditation? You and I meditated together a number of times.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
I wasn't happy with our relationship at the time, so I don't know that I can give any tips. If you're both on the same page, I think it can be a rewarding experience. You know, any experience that you go through together that betters your life, I think only benefits it.
Yeah. So we meditated together because he came home and said, I want a divorce. You laugh. Oops. There's no oops. I understand, right? Mm-hmm. Because both of us were thinking, we can't do this anymore. Except I had started meditating already, so that thought was leaving me. But before I started meditating, I was looking at houses. And so I'd been meditating I'd been meditating long enough for it to start having an effect and for me to understand it was having an effect. And then he came home and said, I want a divorce. And because I was already meditating, I didn't have a reaction to it. And I very clearly heard the voice in my head say the reason why he's asking this is because he's so stressed out that he feels if he took one thing off his plate, it would be a little bit better. And I was one of the things that was stressing him out. But I had pulled back on stressing him out because I was doing what's in fix that should, but he wasn't seeing and feeling it yet because his mind was still experiencing everything that we had gone through. So my reply to him was, do you feel this way because, and I said, basically with the voice in my head, and he said, yes, I think so. And I said, can I ask you to meditate? Did I ask you for 1 month or 2 months?
It was definitely a month, but I honestly don't remember.
Yeah. So I asked him, I said, can you meditate for, let's say, a month? Can you meditate for a month? And if you still feel the same way, absolutely, I will give you a divorce because I don't want you to be unhappy. And so we started meditating together, in my office, actually. And he started sleeping better. I guess your stress went down a little bit. That was a question.
Oh. I don't know that it did. Didn't we break up after that still? Right before we moved?
That was, yeah.
It was a situation of a little too late. I wasn't convinced yet, so
right.
It took more.
It took more
to convince me to try it again. So, although I definitely could see a difference. I just didn't feel it would. I wasn't convinced it would last, and I didn't have any energy for it anymore.
Yeah. Do you remember when I called you at work and I said, "Baby, come home," and you said, "What's changed?" And I said, "I respect your emotions more."
I seem to remember that.
Do you remember? So maybe you don't remember what went through your mind or what you felt in that moment.
I don't know for sure, but I think it would be in lines with, well, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Right. Yeah. What would you say started to turn things around for you?
Well, I don't know how specific you want to get, but there was a time when I said, you're going to have to make a grand gesture. And, you said, well, what do you need? And I said, I'm not telling you. I said, I've been telling you for 10 years. So if you don't get it now, I said, for me to know that you get it, you have to get it on your own. And for me telling you to do something and you doing it, I'm not going to be convinced that way. So you made a grand gesture, and that was enough.
What was my grand gesture?
Well, it was the gesture. It wasn't the particular thing. It was the meaning behind it. And of course, I said it would have to be on something of your level of, what's in your capabilities. And you were going to give me, what was it? Some money.
Okay.
It was tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
But it was a big deal for you. It wasn't as big a deal for me, but I understood what it meant because that was really all you could give to me other than of yourself. So it was the gesture. It meant a lot to you, and I recognized it as such.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, it's not like he kept the money.
Right. I took it and gave it back.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, somebody says, do you wear the mask in bed? Is that the mask he uses in bed?
Only if she wants me to.
Oh, I had him wear sunglasses one time when we were on our first honeymoon. Our first honeymoon. That was
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Yes. Some people are like, money? Yeah. I mean, seriously, Besides me, the most, like, to me, to myself, right? Besides me, besides what I can offer as a person in terms of giving my time and my effort, the most important asset that I have is my money, because I take pride in the fact that I have created money for myself. I've, what would you say, created assets or whatever, or
and we had fought about money as well too. So like I say, it wasn't the money, it was the gesture.
Yeah.
And like I say, I gave it back to her because I was looking for the gesture, and it had to seem real, which, I didn't tell her I was going to give it back to her.
Yeah.
I kept it for a few months and then I gave it back to her because I wanted to see that things had actually changed.
And we had fought a lot about money. And one thing that I understood about him is, and you may disagree, but this is kind of how I see it, is money equals love. Where he puts his money is a sign of his love.
Yeah, well, for me, you obviously know my time constraints, and when we met, I was raising 2 children. I didn't have a lot of time, so I can give her physical affection, I can give her words, above and beyond that. I wanted to make her life easier. That was another way I could compensate for my lack of time. And, now I have more time, and that's what I give now. So, things change.
Yeah. So somebody said, so basically, just wanted to see if you would put your pride aside. That makes more sense.
Right.
Yeah. And I did. Got a lot more questions here. I also want to know, if you separate from a spouse, what the potential is to make it work again. What is the potential to make it work with somebody after you separate from them?
Well, you certainly have to be able to let go of what happened. To be able to let go, you have to see change. That's exactly what happened with us too. I wanted to see change, and certainly Chantal did too. We couldn't continue our relationship the way it was. So if you see change and you can forgive what happened, then I think you can go back to a relationship, because people do grow. And someone who may not have been right for you earlier on, they change, you change, and now all of a sudden they are right for you. So I do think it's possible. Really our own relationship is that example, because I think we were both done on at least one occasion.
Yeah.
And we came back to it. So
somebody says, how can you tell if it's worth the fight?
Like I say, it's difficult, and we both acted in faith at one time. There was no logical reason.
Right.
There was a hope and there was a faith, and even when we did that, it seemed to fail. And then somehow we kept going, and it seemed often like when one of us was ready to give up, the other one would step up and hold it together. And, it went back and forth for a number of years. And, now I don't know that one's fighting harder than the other. If there is, it's you.
Oh, yeah. For real.
But it's pretty equal.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I would say that we do take our turn being the pillar of support. And, before, now, it's been much more evident, right? Because somebody was more strongly a foot out the door, if not 2 feet out the door, and somebody was strongly being the glue for the relationship. Now it's more subtle, because we are very committed to each other. We are very happy with each other, but it's just one of us will notice that the other one is having a little bit of a harder time in life, not with the relationship. And so the other person will sort of be a source of strength through that time for our partner. So, he's noticed when I've had a hard time with my mom, and so he's been a source of strength for me. And there's times when he's tired of the grind that he puts himself through, and so I'll make an effort to be a source of strength for him. So we do take our turn being the pillar support, but now for different reasons. So somebody said, what's your love language? And his is acts of service and physical affection. And mine is physical affection and words of affirmation. So we share physical affection, and that's pretty obvious. I see that you guys are seeing that. I translate his acts of service because he's not words of affirmation. Why are you opposite of words of affirmation?
Because I think it's potentially the least genuine. Words to me are cheap. Anyone can say them, and they're often said without any true meaning behind them. And often people will say things, express love, commitment, and then just as easily they'll say the opposite words. I'm not in this anymore. I don't love you anymore. It's so easy to flip. So to me, they're of the least value, personally anyways.
Has your experience with me changed that in any way?
No.
So the reason why I ask that is because I often say you're the best husband in the world. I tend to think that what I say generally is what I stick to. My words of affirmation are things that I believe about somebody. So that's kind of why I asked that. But, so kind of coming back to the love language thing. People often write me and they say, how can I get my partner to speak my love language? And my answer is, it's easier to translate their love language than it is to try and force them to speak yours, because sometimes they have a mindset that makes them resistant to your love language. So my husband is resistant to words of affirmation. I am words of affirmation. And so I translate his acts of service, and I open myself up to receive words of affirmation from other sources. So my love bank is quite filled with the physical affection, but it was filled with physical affection before, but I still needed words of affirmation. But because we did the love language quiz, I became more understanding of how I could fill myself with his love language and open myself up to receiving those words of affirmation from other people, so that I still had that love language being fulfilled. What do you think of that?
I can't argue that.
Somebody says, is knowing each other's love language really that important? I say absolutely 100% yes, because before the moment we did the love language quiz, I kept saying to him, you don't love me. And that's because my love bank felt unfilled. Once I understood he was acts of service, I would ask myself, what has he done for me lately? And it would immediately fill me up, because he is so acts of service. He really does follow through on his love language.
Well, and actually that's one of the reasons why I gave up on the relationship, I would say, is because I'm like, she does not see me. She does not appreciate what I do for her. And I don't believe that she can understand it. She has shown me that. So, the fact that you were able to do exactly what you said is translate, that changed a lot.
Yeah. And somebody asked, does he also translate your love language? I'm going to say no. What do you say?
I think I absolutely see everything you do all the time.
What?
I don't always acknowledge it, but I see it.
When you say do, what do you mean by do?
Well, you're the way you express love to me.
Right. Yes. My acts of service.
Sure.
I do.
And what you say, and whatever the case is.
Oh, what I say too?
Sure. Sometimes it might seem like I'm not paying attention, but I am.
Right. So are my words of affirmation meaningful to you?
Not the word specifically, the act of you doing it, because I know why you're doing it. But the word specifically, no. Like, even if you say, I'm a good person or a good husband, When we were in therapy at one time, the therapist, I can't remember what the conversation was, but I said, I don't have that problem. I said, I don't care what people say about me. I said, whether they say something good or say something bad, it means nothing, because I know who I am. I know my strengths and my weaknesses, and sometimes people will pay me a compliment and I say, you don't know me. I could be horrible. You know, I know who I am. What was the question?
If my words of affirmation are
Oh, right.
meaningful.
Yes. So only in the fact that you're doing it, and I know why you're doing it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. I learn something new every day. Somebody said you're very articulate. Yes, he is. Yes, this is one of the reasons why I love him so much. He's very intelligent. He's very articulate. He's funny too. This is, you know, like, seriously, what the hell?
I gotta get one of my other masks. It's even better.
Oh, which one?
Like a skull.
You guys, send me masks.
No.
So we have
I have plenty.
If you go to the link tree in my bio, there is a PO box that you guys can send me stuff to. So if we need new masks for my husband, send him a new mask. We will absolutely entertain that.
They have to be concealing.
They have to be concealing. He doesn't want to show his face because he's very private. The fact that he's doing this with me is, like, to me, amazing. Because
I should really, hide my voice too.
Oh, jeez. Don't get ideas. Oh my gosh, somebody said, this is the only live I've been in that is actually interesting to me. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm in an exclusive relationship with someone, but we don't text a lot. Is it okay to be the one? I'm going to say to do it first. He's not a big texter. He does not do conversations over text. And I talk about how some people really prefer to live in real life. Well, how come you don't like to text much?
Generally, I only like to text when it's something I don't want to tell them directly. It's bad news or disappointing news or something. Right. But otherwise, yeah, it's certainly more personable to do it, face to face.
Right. So another question that I get is it okay to not talk for a few days?
Only if you're both comfortable with it. Chantal and I can spend hours together and not really talk. So for some people that can be uncomfortable, but we've reached a point where it's fine.
So if people are dating, like not living together like we are, mm-hmm. and there's no communication for a few days, what do you think about that?
I personally don't have a problem with it.
Right.
But as you know, I can be by myself for long periods of the time. So, but I do understand that women usually need more interaction. So, I don't know that it's something to worry about. If you're both comfortable with it, it's fine. But a day, maybe every other day, you'd think you'd get some kind of interaction.
Baby, do you ever get jealous?
There may have been once.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Not really, no. No, because of course I always go back to, I want someone who wants to be with me. So if you want to be with someone else, then what's to be jealous of?
How many of you guys have heard me say that? I don't want to be with anybody who doesn't want to be with me. Say, I have. So another question that somebody just asked is, how do you get a guy to own up to it when he's wrong?
Well, you don't try and force him to. What?
Look at all the I haves.
Oh, I have, right?
Yeah. This is from him.
Mm-hmm.
I learned this from him. He's so smart. I call him my muse. So what's your answer? How do you get a guy to own up to it when he's wrong?
Yeah, I don't know that you easily can. If it's going to happen, it'll probably happen um, really by his own, is it volition?
Volition, yeah.
Volition. You can present your opinion, and then if they determine that they were wrong, they might come back to you. But you trying to force them to, I always had my answer was to I was wrong. I'd say I'm left.
I'm my answer for that is you model it first, right? Uh, he very extremely rarely came to me and said, I'm sorry, after disagreements. But then I started doing the 3-part apology for everything. And I mean, everything that happened. And I even caught up with anything I needed to catch up to. Like, do you feel there's anything that I haven't apologized for?
Probably not.
So I started apologizing for everything I was doing, taking responsibility for the mistakes I was doing, and I also backtracked and took responsibility for the mistakes that I did, because I just wanted, everything to be dealt with. No more, nothing festering anymore, right? And what happened as a result is he started getting good at saying I'm sorry. So I would say you need to model it first, and you need to model it right proper. And when they feel like this is the kind of relationship where we can own our behavior and it makes things better, instead of it feeling like it's painful to do it, because sometimes it's like people don't want to apologize because it just, ego gets involved, right? And so when you model ego doesn't have a place here, like I'm modeling that ego just is not in here for me anymore. When you start modeling that and they see the peace that it starts to give, I think they start to really appreciate that. And since getting rid of ego equals peace, and they do want to be in a relationship with you, and they do love you, and their goal is to have a relationship that is peaceful, you modeling how that makes it happen makes it easier for them to follow suit and start using it as well.
I like your answer better.
Ah, yay. I love it. Do you have any gems, any tidbits of advice?
Myself?
Yeah.
I've said it before. Perhaps just try to find reasons not to fight rather than looking for reasons to fight.
Right.
Might be one of them.
Somebody said, did he notice your behavior? Did he notice your behavior change when you started to take these healthy steps from my book? So did you notice my behavior changing?
Certainly once you started meditating. And then it's been a progression all along.
Okay.
So, yes.
Yeah. What was the change you noticed?
Well, less reactive, certainly, and less blaming, I suppose. Having taking responsibility for your own emotions and dealing with them, and not vomiting, as you say.
Right.
Yeah, and then of course appreciating what I did, understanding, like I say, translating my language into yours, and so a lot of things.
Somebody said, is it normal to have distant days in relationships?
I think so.
What would cause distant days?
Well, I think perhaps whatever's going on in one person's life, if they're, in my situation early on, I had a lot to deal with, raising kids, working with an ex-wife and running a business, dealing with employees. I mean, sometimes I just didn't have enough energy left at the end of the day for much else, and so that would be a distant day for me. I just need to wind down. I mean, there was days that I came to your place and you wanted to get into something. I'm like, can you just let me relax, I need to relax, and so that can make for distance, just personal issues going on, and then you just don't have anything left for the other person.
Here's a good one, baby.
Mm-hmm.
How can you tell a guy you're no longer interested, especially if they're friends with mutual friends?
I think that's more your area. As far as a guy, I mean, I guess just be straightforward. I don't think anybody likes to feel like they've gotten the runaround or someone's been dishonest with them. Certainly if you know that you're ready to start something with someone else, then, having those two relationships overlap can leave a lot of resentment. So have a clean break, maybe even give it a week or two or a month before you dive right into another relationship, so that person, can become accustomed to not being with you. As soon as you're with someone else, then, they might start to think, oh, you were already starting off with someone else while we were still together, so having a clean break. But yeah, I think being straightforward and maybe, having real concrete reasons of why you don't see a future. I'm going in this direction and I can see you are here or going this way, and I don't see long-term compatibility, so giving a logical reason, that is perhaps not like just, I really don't like you,
Right. So I like to advise that you do what I call the breakup sandwich. This is what's great about you. This is why it's not going to work. This is why you'll be great for someone else. What do you think of that?
Well, I think that's fantastic.
That's amazing. They love how affectionate you are. I love how affectionate he is. This, for me, has absolutely been the most fulfilling relationship I've ever been in, because there just is nothing missing. The physical affection, the ability to have intelligent conversation, the sexiness. Better take it off.
No.
Yes, I'm live. I love it. People are like, oh my god, you're live. I really don't like the mask. It's stressing me out. Yeah, sorry guys. This is the compromise.
I can get a different one.
You can get a different one. What would be, here, give us some mask ideas. What would be somebody said big shades and a hat. What would be like a compromise?
I could get my shades and my other mask, like my going out on the town mask.
Oh, right. Oh, he's going to go get a new mask. Awesome.
Let's see.
Give me some mask idea, you guys. Somebody said a ski mask. Batman mask. This is cute. This is cute. He can wear the medical mask and sunglasses. Superhero mask. If he doesn't like space, go. Oh. He does not wear a mask out with me. I'm glad that he's hanging out live. I know, me too. I'm very happy with that. Bane mask. Ooh, Bane mask. That's interesting. He looks so playful. Oh, you look so playful with him. Yes. I love him. A plague doctor mask. Darth Vader. Ooh. Oh, we have 2 Darth Vaders. With the voice changeover, don't give him ideas. He already said I should do something to change my voice too, just like further disguise himself. I love his voice, by the way. I actually really love his voice. I think it's really interesting because he definitely has a very gentle disposition, but like very confident, but like confident, gentle. And then he'll get on the phone at work, and his voice gets like a little bit deeper, which I find really sexy because it just speaks to like a little bit more power. Ooh, another vote for the Bane mask. Love the bright colors. Thank you. Oh, I love this. At first, it was hard to understand my boyfriend showing affection physically instead of verbally. You learn. I know. Like I needed to understand that acts of service was a love language. Charlie, come here. He does have a nice voice, yes. Come here, baby. Come see Mama. Come on. Come here. Hello. Oh, he's so cute. Oh, he's so cute. He does this thing now where when I reach out to pick him up, he always like reaches out with a paw and puts it on my arm. Hi. Why are you barking? Iron Mask. Ooh. I'm not gonna say the Iron Man mask. Because he knows that I have a thing for Robert Downey Jr. He might not like that one. So I had a dream about a week ago where I kissed Jim Carrey. So we were having brunch the next day and I said, baby, I cheated on you last night. And he goes, oh, you had a dream? I go, yeah. I said, I dreamt that I kissed Jim Carrey. He goes, well, you cheated on Robert Downey Jr. So most guys don't know how to express their feelings, affection verbally. Like some, yeah, it seems to me like few do. Most of them show their love. Most of them are like, doesn't matter what you say, what matters is what you do. So I find a lot of men, like men, capital M, they are very acts of service, combined with physical affection or quality time. Captain America mask, interesting. Teletubbies, you guys are so good. Oh, you guys are so good. You said in long distance relationship not to fight, but then how do you manage your relationship issues so there's no resentment? I would dive into fix that shit. Have you ever been to the US? Not as a dating coach. Like I did a book tour through Ontario and a little bit in Quebec when I was releasing my books, but I haven't toured in the US yet. And I absolutely want to. Oh, we love you. God bless you and your husband. I love this. I love this. Guys, I'm going to sign off because it is supper time. It's supper time. And we do need to eat. I'm going to give you guys a second to hit that follow button if you want to do that. By the way, if you click on my picture, once you're following me, you get a pop-up in the bottom with a bell in the bottom right-hand corner. You can touch that and it'll give you a notification when I come on live. So if you want that notification, go ahead and do that. If you do that, say I just did so that I know, that you guys have done that. And because I don't want to pop off before you guys did that. And I don't know how long the lag is sometimes. I love you. I hit the bell, but I didn't get notification. Oh no. How do you keep from smothering each other? That's called codependency. So anybody who feels codependent means they don't know what their purpose is yet because they're making, waiting for my book. That's awesome. They're making their relationship their purpose. Wallflower, fix that shit mask. Ooh, that's a good idea. I should make him a mask in the merch store. That's kind of brilliant. I don't want to make like a mask that's going to muffle. Like I want something that his when he speaks is still going to be able to come up properly. So it'd have to be something more like this. I just did. Awesome. I love you guys. Okay, I love you guys. How do I find my purpose? Amazing question. Custom Made is the book that is going to help you find your purpose. I got it right here. This book is a workbook because I'm going to walk you through the process of diving into yourself and understanding what your talent is, what your purpose is. And then I also teach you how to market it because I do want you to get paid doing what you love. I think that is absolutely ideal. I think all of us should, it shouldn't be work. It should be like, I get up, I do something, and I can sustain myself doing it. And I love what I do. I wake up every day knowing exactly what I'm going to do and enjoying what it is that I'm putting out into the world. I am currently working on the Fix That Shit audiobook for you guys. I will order it. Yay! Thank you. I'm feeling so lost right now with what I want to do. Oh, my love. Here it is. We're gonna look at this image. That's you. That's gonna be you. Just enlightening yourself on why you are here, because you were absolutely designed to do something super perfectly. So I'm excited. When you figure it out, come back and let me know. I really want to know. Audiobooks, Fix That Shit, on its way in production right now. Super excited. I love you guys. I'm going to talk to you soon.